Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody. It's time for another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and flying solo today, but I'm bringing you some news. I figured it's been a bit since we've done a little cigar news update, and I figured, since I'm flying solo, that would be a good use of time. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into it, and I'm going to start off with my cigar. And the cigar I am smoking tonight is the Red Anchor Admiral, and that is brought to you by United Cigars. And this cigar is a 6x52 Toro featuring an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, binder and filler, both from the Dominican Republic. And I am looking forward to this. I like the Red Anchor. I've had this. I had this before when I was up in New Hampshire for the Two Guys anniversary party. Oh God, that was 2022. Man, time flies. I swear it. It's weird. I'm looking at my schedule, trying to plan ahead for shows and everything, and it's like, fuck, TPE's coming up right around the corner here, and so I got to start thinking about pre-recording shows for while I'm out in Vegas to have those in the can and everything. So yeah, I mean, time's flying. It's already almost the end of January, so which I'm okay with because it's been cold as hell, and I don't like the cold. So I'm all right with getting past winter here. Anyway, it's time to go ahead and cut and light the cigar. And the official cutting is brought to you by Dan the Man Ponder over there at Riverman Cigar Company. And I was just over at Riverman Cigar Company earlier today, actually. I hung out for a little while. In all fairness, I did not plan on flying solo today, but shit happens, and it's fine. I understand. But I was able to hang out in the lounge for a little while and have a few cigars and catch up with everybody. And, that's the beauty of the cigar shop, guys. You can go by and chill, have your cigars, meet your friends, and just kind of chat for a while. So it like Cheers. Everybody knows your name at Riverman. You walk in and you're instantly made to feel comfortable chilling out in the lounge there, and it's a good place to sit and have a cigar. He's got a nice selection of cigars over there at Riverman Cigar Company. He's got the full line of Aladino cigars. Still has a whole bunch of hard to find Fuente cigars. So if you guys are Fuente people and you're looking for some hard to find Fuente cigars, give Dan the Man Ponder over at Riverman Cigar Company a call. He's got the Aladino Sumatra. He still has plenty of those. So if you're looking for that, that's a good place to score that as well. But yeah, give Dan the Man Ponder a call, because if you're not in the St. Louis area and you can't just swing by in person and pick up your stuff, he does do mail orders. So you can give him a ring and he'll get a nice shipment of cigars sent out to you right away. It's Dan the Man Ponder over there at Riverman Cigar Company. And with that, it's time for me to go ahead and cut my cigar. So, it has been a surprisingly busy week. It's one of those things. I'll just, briefly while I'm lighting this, talk about this. This is one of those times a year in my real job, my business, that revenue is light. And so I tend to spend January and February chasing down revenue that's owed to me. And so it's been a lot of that this week, circling up with folks and seeing, hey, where's my money? And that I hate doing that. I really do. But unfortunately it happens, and some of it's pretty old. I mean, it's old money. So that's what I've been busy with this week. So anyway, cold draw time on the Red Anchor Admiral here. And it's got a distinct flavor component to it. It's a like a leathery, kind of fruity kind of taste. I almost say like not raisins, but grapes. Kind of a grape. But not artificial grape. It's that real grape kind of flavor. Whatever. It could be me. I'm sure it's probably me. But yeah, that's what I'm getting on this cigar right now. Is that what's actually on it? You know what? It's all subjective. That's the best part. I can tell you it tastes like, almond butter. Who cares? So, anyway, firing this guy up here. So, yeah, like I said, we're going to talk a little cigar news and, get caught up on what's going on there. While we enjoy the Red Anchor. So, there we go. First things first. I'm going to be kind of skimming this stuff here as we go. But, I, again, show prep, should have done some more, didn't. But that's all right. That's what happens when we're on the fly and it's Thursday night at, 10:30 and I still got to get this done for you guys. So that's what it is. So first things first, we're going to be talking about flavor bans a little bit here. We've got two articles about, two articles about flavor bans. So first things first, this was reported back about maybe 2 weeks ago, not quite 2 weeks ago, that the U.S. Supreme Court is not going to hear a challenge to California's flavored tobacco ban. They announced that they're not going to hear an appeal to the near total ban on the sale of flavored tobacco and vaping products in California. They listed what they were going to take on, and that was not one of them. The ban went into effect on December 21st of 2022, and it was the result of a state Senate bill, and that was signed into law in 2020. So I guess it looks like R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, along with others, challenged the ban in courtrooms, trying to use, some of California's laws to try and get voters to overturn the law, which caused for a 2-year delay. And then in November of 2022, 63.4% of ballots cast in California said they were in favor of the ban. And so they turned around, appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, seeking an emergency petition to block the ban, and then and the court denied that. And then it just kind of goes on from there. So the ban on flavored tobacco products in California does contain an exemption for flavored cigars, though to qualify for the exemption, the cigar must be handmade, use a whole leaf tobacco wrapper, and have a wholesale price of at least $12. So, for those of you... Sorry. This is one of those things about me doing a solo show is I don't get to smoke. For those of you who understand, a wholesale price of $12 means you're probably looking at an on-the-shelf price of somewhere around $24 to $25, depending upon tax rates and things of that nature. So, we're not talking cheap dates here, and I don't know very many flavored cigars that cost, $25 retail. So, there's that. Now, according to this article from halfwheel.com, there does remain some vagueness as to what the wholesale price is, as California's other tobacco tax used the term wholesale cost. And, so now we're getting into the minutia of what word is used and all that. There's also exemptions for flavored pipe and shisha tobaccos. It does not prohibit the use of flavored tobacco products and does not make it illegal to buy such products from out-of-state retailers. So, I guess if you are a California person and you love your Fat Bottom Betties, you're going to have to probably go online. Anyway, the long and short of it is that, it does not appear that the Supreme Court is going to take that on. So it looks like the California flavor ban is going to stand. Now, that leads us into the next bit of news here. Well, before we get into that, we'll talk about the Red Anchor for a moment. Kicking off a decent amount of smoke right off the foot. Little itty bitty bit of spice to the retrohale right off of the foot. So far, smoking relatively mild. I mean, it's got a nice flavor to it right off the bat, but it is smoking a little mild. So, but I think this cigar ramps up. I think it's one of those ones that starts off kind of easy and goes from there. So, like I said, that leads us into the next article here. So, this was from Wednesday. Apparently, 21 attorneys general across the country call for President Biden to approve a flavored cigar and menthol cigarette ban. And I guess in December, the White House delayed the flavored bans on, or federal bans on the sale of flavored tobacco or cigars and menthol cigarettes. The bans, technically two separate bans, were announced in 2022, and the FDA has been working on finalized language for both of these bans. However, the FDA is, still doing its thing, and in December, the White House Office of Management and Budget, Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, listed the bans with a final rule date of 3/0 of 2024, meaning they've been delayed. However, the dates are not binding. I don't know what 3/0 means. I mean, it's not March the 0, but I don't know. Maybe it's just March of 2024. They just left it vague. Anyway, I guess the Half Wheel reports that multiple reports have indicated the Biden administration is concerned with the potential political impacts of the bans, specifically concerns about how the bans will be perceived by black voters. There's been long-standing complaints that a ban on menthol cigarettes would increase the policing of black people who make up a disproportionate amount of menthol cigarette smokers, and a report from the Washington Post last week was one of the latest to detail these concerns, but it also contained an interesting tidbit saying that the White House faces an internal deadline of this week to make sure the bans would fully go into effect during Biden's first term. So, this episode's coming out on Friday. It's not completely unreasonable to think that perhaps, today or this week, this could be irrelevant news, and we might be talking about this kind of a ban. Apparently, the Washington Post seems the deadline seems to be one based on whether the sale bans would be enacted during Biden's first term. FDA has previously stated that both rules will have a 1-year compliance period that allows companies to sell off existing inventory, train staff, and prepare to be compliant with the new rules, which means if the finalized rules were implemented today, retailers would be able to continue selling menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars until it would be, I'm recording this on the 18th, so it would be January 17th of 2025 without any worry of federal action. January 20th of 2025 is Inauguration Day. So the rules would have to be implemented by Friday, so the day this episode comes out, to meet the internal deadline. And it seems that it's going to be interesting, and there's inevitably going to be lawsuits that come from this. So it could be one of those things where it just doesn't happen. But apparently, they do have some attorney generals that are pushing for this, including my state attorney general, Kwame Raoul. So anyone in Chicago that likes your flavored cigars or your menthol cigarettes, remember, Kwame Raoul is trying to take them away from you. Anyway, that's my little local political thing, but there's a whole bunch of these guys listed here. Like I said, there's 21 of them. However, I don't recognize any of the other names, and so I can't tell you what states they're from, because why would this article include what states they're from? Anyway, so kicking off a lot of smoke with this Red Anchor here in the Ice Tent of Love, the Aladino Mobile Studios in the Ice Tent of Love. Look, I think it's one of those. I think the writing is on the wall for flavored products. I don't know how long we're gonna all have before it's all said and done. Um, I think before it's ultimately done. I think when the dust finally settles on it, um, could there be exemptions carved out like in the California ban? Possibly. But I don't know if that would apply for the federal one. But I think if we have anybody to blame, it's vape. I think vape completely changed the game for youth, um, nicotine and tobacco. Well, not even tobacco. I don't want to say tobacco because vape is obviously not tobacco consumption. And I think that's a huge part of the issue is vape, and it's easier to just wrap everything up in one bow instead of going after the thing that they should be going after. And whatever. It's what it is. So I've been saying this for the last few years, and I'll keep saying it. If you are a flavored cigar fan, if you like your flavored cigars, I would, consider stocking up. I'm not saying that you need to go out and buy like 20 boxes of something right now, but as you have some extra income, it maybe wouldn't hurt to buy a few boxes and stick them aside. You don't know. And I'll also say I find it interesting that companies are still putting eggs in the flavored basket. I think I don't know if it's one of those things they're just trying to get it out while they can and hope that it'll not happen or what. But Asylum just recently put out a whole line of flavored cigars. Now there's a long story behind that involving Deadwood tobacco and the Deadwood cigars and everything like that, lawsuits, this, that, and the other thing. So, I'm not quite familiar with all of that, so I'm not going to get into that. But I do know that these flavored cigars that Asylum has recently put out, it's my understanding, based off of what more than a handful of people have told me, is that they were supposed to be Deadwood cigars, similar to the Fat Bottom Betty, the Sweet Jane, and the Crazy Alice, and the Leather Rose. However, for a variety of reasons, like I said, I'm not going to get into because I don't know all the details of it. I've been told secondhand. They ended up just going ahead, rebranding them as Asylum cigars and putting them out that way. And I know Dan at Riverman carries them, and I've seen them, and I gotta admit, they're not obviously labeled as sweet and infused. They, at least not on the actual cigar packaging. The box is in the case and the lid flipped up. Maybe it's on the box somewhere and I haven't looked at it. But to look at the cigars, they just look like standard Asylum cigars, just in like a red, orange, or kind of yellowish and black wrapper and everything. So I know at least one guy. I was sitting next to one guy at Riverman one day, and he had got one thinking it was just a new Asylum cigar, and he got it out of the cellophane, got it out of the paper and everything, and put it to the lips to light it up, and he goes, "This is sweet," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is one of the new sweet, infused Asylum cigars." And he goes, "I didn't know it was infused." So, for what it's worth, if he would have asked, I'm sure Miss Cindy would have told him. But the point is, to look at it, you wouldn't necessarily know. So, anyway, I find it interesting that with all of this legislation happening all over the place and bans popping up here and there, that companies are still, putting eggs in the basket of flavored, cigars. And I'm not criticizing them for it because, let's be real, they make money. They sell. And whether or not you're a flavored or infused fan, they sell. They sell really well. So they must be trying to get their hands on some of that flavored and infused money while they can, at least. So I don't know. For what it's worth, there's that. So sorry, I gotta get the cigar, keep the cigar going here. Don't want to lose it. So moving on to our next bit of news. Florida a Florida bill. Now, granted, before I get into this, I want to remind everybody, we're in January. January is when all the state legislatures, so all 50 of them, they all come together, and lawmakers, both in the respective chambers, I don't know if every state has a House and a Senate. I know Illinois has a House and a Senate. I'm assuming that all 50 states have similar setups, but in their respective chambers, you have the legislators, and January is when these legislators come together and introduce all the legislation that they want to pursue throughout the legislative session. And I'm saying this from experience because for those of you who are relatively new to the show, maybe don't know this, I worked in politics here in Illinois for 6 years. I did press and communications for the Illinois House, and so part of my job was assisting with crafting legislation and putting out press releases about it, pursuing it, monitoring it as it went through the legislative process here in Illinois, and that sort of thing. And so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about here. So these guys, these legislators, they'll introduce laws or bills in January and February. Typically, at least in Illinois, I think the deadline is sometime in early February to have your stuff introduced. And then from there, it goes to committees, rolls through various committees, and then it goes to votes in whatever chamber it was first introduced. So in my case, since I worked for the Illinois House, if theoretically my state rep that I was working for introduced a bill, it would be introduced, it would go through the committees, and then it would go to the Illinois House to be voted upon. And if it made it through the Illinois House, which very rarely happened with anything I was attached to, then it would then move on to the Senate, where it would go through Senate committees, and then the senators would vote on it. And theoretically, there might be amendments that are added to it over in the Senate. And if there's amendments or changes made to it in the Senate, it then has to come back to the Illinois House or the House of whatever state and be voted upon again in the House. And that also requires, additional committee time and this, that, and the other. And then finally, if it gets that second vote in the House for approval, then it goes to the governor for the governor's signature. And so, it's yeah, I lost it. Shit. That's how the sausage is made in the legislatures, and also in a roundabout way, that's kind of how it's done in Washington D.C. as well. So I'm sorry. I've had people tell me that on these solo shows, specifically on the audio side, that it's rough because, in the video, you can watch me light and take some puffs on the cigar to get the cigar going again. But on the audio side, you just hear blank audio, for however long it takes for me to do that. And I realize that's annoying, but I'm not blessed to have an Ed Sullivan or somebody to fill that dead space. So unfortunately, since I'm flying solo, that's what you get. Anyway, I say all that about the legislation to say this. This is the time of year that these lawmakers, they shoot for the moon. They introduce every stupid piece of legislation they can possibly think of. And then after they get everything introduced, they look at what's out there that either they introduced or their peers introduced. They decide what they want to actually pursue, and then some things die on the vine. Don't even get called. Sometimes don't even go to committee. I know back in Illinois when we had a previous Speaker of the House than we currently do, that speaker was a long-time speaker, and he would control that chamber with an iron fist. And if he didn't like a bill, it never even made it to committee. It just basically just died. So he was a gatekeeper. He kept everything bottled up if he didn't like it. So, and if he liked your bill, he sometimes would just straight up copy and paste it into a bill of his own and just make it his own and push that through. So he got the credit instead of, legislator from Southern Illinois or something like that. So it's all games. It's all bullshit and games. But anyway, again, I say all that to say this. This is the silly season. This is the time of year that you're going to hear, oh my God, the sky is falling. States are introducing bills to do this. They're going to take away our right to do this. They're going to take away this and that and what. They're going to ban this and that and what. Sit back and watch what happens. 99.9% of what they're introducing is not going to ever even make it to the floor of whatever chamber you're talking about for a vote, much less make it to the other chamber for a vote, and much less make it to whatever governor needs to sign it. So realistically, as I get into this third news piece, realize this may not even make it out of whatever committee it's going to go to. But that brings me to the news piece. A Florida bill has been introduced that would make it illegal to light up a cigar at state beaches and parks in Florida. On Wednesday, the Florida Senate Environment and Natural Resources Committee voted 7-0 in favor of Senate Bill 1576, which would modify state law to ban smoking and vaping at state beaches and parks. Notably, the bill does not include an exemption for cigars. In 2022, Governor Ron DeSantis, signed into law House Bill 105, which changed Florida law to allow cities and counties to pass their own smoking bans at public beaches and parks. However, that bill contained language that prevents cities and counties from banning the smoking of unfiltered cigars, so premium cigars. This new bill would not only affect state parks, meaning if it were to pass, the new bill would only affect state parks, meaning if it were to pass, you would still be able to smoke cigars in city and county owned beaches and parks, assuming they allow it. You got to know the laws of whatever city and county you're in to know if it's allowed. Anyway, this new bill was introduced by Senator Ana Maria Rodriguez, Republican of Doral. If passed, it will introduce fines of up to $100 for a person's first violation and up to $500 for subsequent violations, and the new law would go into effect on July 1st of 2024. So it sounds as though it at least made it through the Senate Environment and Natural Resources Committee, but it does not. The article does not state anything about a final Senate vote. It doesn't say anything about going to the House. It's early. It's very early. So before anybody starts getting all up in arms, saying like, oh my God, I want to be able to smoke at state parks and beaches in Florida. Again, it's only state parks and beaches, not necessarily city or county, depending upon the city or county and whether or not they've enacted their bans. And there's miles to go before this is a thing. So, Florida, get your act together and keep your cigar rights, damn it. You're the cigar capital of the country. Florida should be the safest state for cigars in the country. So, I don't know what's up with this idea, but nip this shit in the bud. Anyway, all right. Now for something fun. So, last year, my dad and I, we talked and we wanted to go to the Drew Estate Bar and Smoker in Kentucky. We had talked, I went to it back in 2019, and I had a really fun time at it. It's on to Working Tobacco Farm in Kentucky. It was a great time. I learned a lot. And I had a fun time. And it's not super far from me. It's like 4 hours from me. And it's about 4 hours from where my dad lives. And so we thought, hey, we'd kind of road trip, converge in Kentucky and enjoy the Bar and Smoker. Well, obviously COVID hit in 2020. And so we didn't do it then. I think they canceled it again in 21. I don't know what happened in 22. I can't tell you that. I know 23, they did not have it in Kentucky. They had it in other locations, but they did not have it in Kentucky. However, Drew Estate has announced the 2024 barn smoker dates and locations. And they announced that in their first freestyle live event of 2024, that they have 3 barn smokers planned for this year. They are going to have barn smoker events in Connecticut on August the 10th, Kentucky on August the 5th, or October the 5th, and Florida on November the 9th. The company has not announced specifics of where the events will be held, but said there's more information forthcoming and tickets will be going on sale on March 15th. It was announced that they will be moving into more of a festival format, and there will be some new amenities for VIP ticket holders. I guess they're going to have another couple of events as well. One was called the West Coast Situation, and that's set for July. And then the Drew Estate Family Reunion is going to take place September 7th in Versailles, Kentucky, at the Kentucky Castle, which is owned by Wes Henderson, the co-founder of Angel's Envy Distillery. So you got some Drew Estate events coming up. But personally, I'm excited about the barn smoker on October the 5th. I had a great time at that event, and I think it's one of those things that, assuming the calendar settles right and I can pull it off, I think that's something I want to put on my calendar. So, for those of you who are interested in the barn smoker, live near Kentucky, and maybe you're thinking about going to it, you might see me there. I think it'd be a good time. So, and if nothing else, it's a good excuse for me to swing back by, assuming it's held at the same place, it'd be a good excuse to swing back by Screaming Eagle Cigars. Last time I was there, which granted was 2019, I really liked that place. It was really nice. So, hopefully I can make that happen. All right. So, that is the news as I have it. I am enjoying my Red Admiral Anchor here. It's smoking well. When I can take a break to actually smoke it, it's smoking very well. My burn line is very, very tight. Construction on it's fantastic. The amount of smoke output has been nice. And flavor-wise, it's giving me just a little bit of kind of a leathery, cedary kind of notes to the beginning here, but I am still in the first third. It's a great cigar. So why don't we now go ahead and get into this? It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. Took a retrohale during that little drop there, and the amount of kind of peppery spice on the retrohale has picked up from that one that I did right off the foot. Still nothing that's like bad or oppressive that I'm like coughing up a lung or anything, but it's getting there. It's definitely ramping up a little bit. So, Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report. What have I been watching? What have I been watching? What have I been watching? I watched an episode of Dark Side of the Ring about the Von Erich family, because earlier this week I went and saw the movie The Iron Claw. I don't know if I talked about that on the last episode or not. I don't know. If I did, well, you're hearing about it again. But that's the story of the Von Erich family and the tragedy that kind of surrounded that family. Good movie. I mean, sad. Don't get me wrong. It was very sad. If you know anything about the story, you know that there's well, in real life there were 5 brothers. In the movie they only showcased 4. but sad. A lot of unfortunate passing away that took place in that family, and so, but a really, really good dramatic movie. And I got to give Zac Efron a lot of credit. He put on the muscles. I mean, that dude got beefy for this movie, and good for him. I mean, he really threw himself into the role. Their dad is a dick, which I gather from Dark Side of the Ring that was probably the case there as well. But what I thought was interesting is I read an article, and then Dark Side of the Ring kind of confirmed it, that there was a fifth brother who he passed away in a very similar manner as one of his other brothers, and so because of that, when they wrote the script for the movie, they decided to leave that one brother out, and because they were like, it's very similar to this brother, and also how much tragedy can we throw at the audience, regarding this family. And Kevin Von Erich, who is the surviving Von Erich brother, he had script approval rights, and I guess he went ahead and agreed that yeah, we can just kind of cut that one out. Not to hide him from history per se, but just kind of say like, yeah, we don't need to get into the fact that four of the five brothers passed away tragically. So yeah, it was a great movie. Not like I said, not a happy movie. You're not walking out of there feeling great about life. It's definitely a tragedy, but it was good. It was really good. And I'm excited. This is not something that I've necessarily watched. I mean, I have watched it, but I'm excited. I saw a news article that Godzilla Minus One, the newest Godzilla movie that's been in the theaters, from Japan, that movie is being re-released in black and white on January 26th. It's going to leave theaters. Both versions, color and black and white, will leave theaters on February the 1st. So there's a small window to go see Godzilla Minus One at this point. But the black and white version is being put out in theaters on January 26th. And I thought that was a fantastic movie in color. I really would like to see it in black and white. I heard that the filmmakers, they didn't just throw a black and white filter on the movie. They actually went through frame by frame and adjusted the black and white accordingly. So it looks as though it was truly shot in black and white, not just, like I said, a gray tone filter thrown onto it. So they put some time and effort into making it black and white. And it was in terms of a Godzilla movie, it was really well done. And the story behind it, it really dives into some deeper themes about Japan and the nation of Japan, and how at that time period they truly did not have the people's interest in mind. I mean, they were just the people of the island nation of Japan. They were not the top concern of the government, and this movie showcases that in a couple of different ways, some true to life and some obviously fantastic with, giant radioactive lizards with fire breath. But anyway, if you like a movie that's going to make you think and also features a giant radioactive lizard breathing fire breath, go see Godzilla Minus One. I liked it. TV wise, I've been busy. I haven't really had a chance to watch much of anything. So yeah, this one I'm just touching on the movies. But yeah, that's what I've been watching lately. Well, why don't we go ahead and do this then too?
Guess what, motherfucker?
It's time for 3 cigars we smoked and enjoyed this week, and I can actually do this relatively easily because I have been tracking all of the cigars that I've been smoking every day in 2024. And so I can go back and I can actually tell you what I've been smoking lately. And the first one I'm going to mention is one that I smoked on Tuesday, and that is the Garofalo La Familia Sun-Grown Toro. It's made by Perdomo Cigars for United Cigars, and I haven't had the other ones in the line. I tend to default to sun-grown or Habano first. It's just my flavor profile to start with. And this is just a fantastic cigar. I bought it when I ordered some cigars from Two Guys in order to get that HVC hotcake to do the episode with Ed Sullivan. And I thought I ordered two. Evidently, I only ordered one. So that's on me. But what are you going to do? But I smoked it, and I truly enjoyed it. My second one is one that I smoked while doing my deliveries the other day for my newspaper, and that would be the Villiger 1888 Nicaragua Robusto. I love the Villiger 1888 Nicaragua. It hits so many of the high points for me in terms of the flavor and spice and complexity, and it burns really well. And I can't say enough good things about the Villiger 1888 Nicaragua. To be honest, I in my experience with Villiger, their core line cigars are very, very good. I really like their core line cigars, but I found myself enjoying kind of the more special stuff from them. Obviously more. I liked the Villiger de Nicaragua. It was a limited edition. I liked the Miami. I liked a lot of the. I do really like the La Libertad. But in terms of like a core line, cigar from them, I was kind of like, I liked what they had, but I liked this other stuff more. Well, then they come out with the 1888 Nicaragua, and I smoked that, and I'm like, holy crap, this is my core line Villiger cigar, and I truly enjoy it. So that was a nice little treat while I was doing my deliveries. And then today, while sitting over at Riverman, Dan still has some Yaguas from J.C. Newman, and I and another gentleman, Ken, over there at Riverman. We both grabbed one from the humidor, and a couple of us sitting in the lounge enjoyed the Yagua. So I had the Yagua, and it's tasty. So while you're calling over there to Riverman to put in your order for those rare Fuentes or whatever else, if you're looking for Yaguas, Dan still has some, so you can get those picked up over there today at Riverman Cigar Company as well. And that's 3 cigars I smoked and enjoyed this week. So now let's do this. This would normally be the time that I give some information about My Monthly Cigars, but I've hired that out this week, so take it away.
My Monthly Cigars is a premium cigar subscription service. It comes in a variety of different size boxes at affordable prices. Use offer code PULPIT and get free shipping on your first box and 20% off any items in the online store at mymonthlycigars.com.
That's offer code PULPIT. Thanks. And guys, while you're over there at mymonthlycigars.com, make sure you check out the fucking good coffee. He's got a variety of different blends, including the Daily Press, which is the official coffee of the Cigar Pulpit, as well as the Lounge Blend and a whole bunch of others. And Nick is teasing that he's going to be making some giant reveal or announcement here soon. So if you're not on his email newsletter list, maybe get on that, and then that way you can be in on whatever the announcement is. He's very cryptic, very, very cryptic. Anyway, and in terms of me, on the socials, I'm available at Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook, where we have the Cigar Pulpit Parishioners group and all the fun that happens there. We have Twitter /X, where I don't really do much, but I keep saying I really should. YouTube, where you can watch this. And while you're signing up for email newsletters, head on over to cigarpulpit.com. And the little pop-up window that comes up when you go there, make sure you're on my email newsletter list so that you can start receiving that when I get that started up this month. And I still have more time. Don't be rushing me. I still have more time. It's only, this episode's dropping on Friday the 19th. I still have Still have plenty of time to get a newsletter out this month. So don't think that that's not going to start. But anyway, so yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm not quite even to the second third of this Red Anchor Admiral. It's smoking very, very well. I briefly had to just touch up one little spot, mostly due to the fact that I'm not smoking it very quickly, and I had one little spot that just kind of wasn't quite perfectly even with the rest of it, and I was worried that maybe that spot was starting to go out. So I hit it with a little fire. Whether or not that was needed, I don't know. But anyway, otherwise, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to tell you guys. It's like I said, it's a nice short episode here. I wanted to catch up on a little news and get something out here for you. But hopefully this is good, and we can go from there. So otherwise, I'm gonna call this an episode, guys. Thank you very much for being patient. I'm going to be working hard this weekend to build out a calendar through hopefully the end of March for guests and that sort of thing. So maybe we can avoid, there's going to be at least 2 more solo shows that I know of. I'll be doing a TPE preview the first Friday of February. So that's the 2nd. I'll be out in Vegas for TPE. It'll actually be technically the last day of TPE that day. However, for podcast purposes, it'll be my preview show. And then on the 6th, Tuesday the 6th of February, that'll be my TPE recap show. So for that one, obviously, I'll be solo as well. But I'll have a whole bunch of interviews, hopefully, from the show that will break up the monotony of me just talking. So we'll go from there. But either way, I'm working on building up a calendar so that we can avoid this kind of stuff. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it. I always say it, but I always mean it, that I really do appreciate your support and your listening, and please continue to do so. Anyway, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick. Stay safe and stay smoky.